So, you want to become an entrepreneur and have big ambitions but don't know where to start? Recently, I watched and analyzed an interview about a startup founder who built a 1 billion startup from scratch. Here, I'm gonna tell you the lesson which he learned throughout his journey. So, who am I talking about? I'm talking about this guy. His name is Samir Vasavada, and he co-founded Vice.com with his partner Runik Merotra. It is now a $1 billion fintech startup which is specialized in helping financial advisors with AI technology to make better portfolios. He got interviewed by Stanford, and here are the top insights which you can pick up from this interview. Valuable lessons or inspirations that can help you to get started or overcome a challenge in your current journey. So, his first advice would be, your first company doesn't need to be your life project yet. It is to be here to start learning and get good. Prior to Vice, Samir and Runik actually had a company called Nix Development, and they were consulting leading financial firms such as UBS, BCG, MassMutual and Deutsche Bank on artificial intelligence. But before all of that, at the beginning of their journey, they were just building apps, software for businesses. As you look for the idea, start by questioning specific assumptions in your niche. According to Samir, as he realized that one of the biggest markets that often gets overlooked is financial advising, and back in 2016-17, many in Silicon Valley believed that in the future, human advisors would disappear, replaced entirely by robo-advisors, apps like Robinhood, or self-direct investing. But Samir and his partner saw things differently. They knew people still want the human element in managing their money. He said he was frustrated with school. They looked for a way out and thought themselves programming when Apple launched Swift. To put their skills to use, they offered to build apps for small businesses, posting ads online and quickly landing clients. In their case, a gas station chain, a medical conference, and even a Canadian startup. With help from a team in India, they delivered multiple apps, and by the age of 13 had already earned $30,000. Runik's advanced math skills opened the door to an AI research opportunity at a top university, where he worked on early neural networks known as restricted Boltzmann machines. Inspired by this, they had the idea to create an AI-powered app development software that could generate apps from a simple idea. They invested their $30,000 into the project, but without the right team, it quickly fell apart. Still, the experience gave them the deep knowledge of AI and machine learning. Acting on the advice of a mentor, they began consulting through expert networks, connecting with major investment banks and charging up to $1,000 an hour. The lesson: if you have specialized knowledge in a field, don't just keep it to yourself. Leverage it by consulting and helping others. They found a way to make more money than just a typical 1-hour phone call by taking on additional projects. The client explained, "We have a huge wealth management group. Our financial advisors excel at relationship management, but not in investment management. Is there a way AI could help improve their investment capabilities?" They realized that instead of just consulting for MassMutual, they could build software and sell it to institutions like MassMutual, JP Morgan, and other major investment firms. The software would focus on AI-driven portfolio construction and investment research. They created it, originally naming it FSI, Financial Services Artificial Intelligence. And yes, they had worked on it, kind of bootstrapped it with their own consulting income, just built it on their own. At Detroit Startup Week, Runik had the chance to meet Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, who was speaking at the event. Seizing the moment, Runik ran up to him after the talk and pitched their idea: AI to help JP Morgan build better portfolios. Dimon acknowledged JP Morgan had plenty of data scientists, but pointed out a bigger opportunity. Financial advisors were leaving big institutions to go independent, creating a rapidly growing market worth trillions. The key challenge? These independent advisors needed software to power their practices. Taking Jamie's advice seriously, they got to work. Every day after school, Samir started cold calling independent RIAs and posting job ads to connect with them. He asked about their decision making, the technology they used, and sought to understand the psychology behind how they ran their practices. According to Samir, he said, "There's no way I'm going to, I have to make this work." The lesson is simple: no excuses, always give you 100%. When they decided to look for investors, they met Ned Turner and Zach Weinberg, the founders of Flat and Health, who had previously sold their company to Roe for $2 billion. The two Penn graduates admitted they weren't sure that the project would succeed, but still offered them $100,000. In the early days of Vice, they got creative to build their team. They posted job ads online for financial advisor positions, not to hire employees in the traditional sense, but to connect with potential collaborators. Some applicants ended up joining anyway, forming part of the founding team. With little money to pay salaries, they offered equity instead, Over time, they used the same approach to bring on engineers, convincing them to work for equity until the company could afford to pay. It all begins with having a clear vision of what you want to achieve. For him, that clarity came as early as 8 or 9 years old, knowing he wanted to build a great business and imagining where he'd been in 10 or 20 years. Holding on to that vision, constantly striving toward it, gave him the drive to keep going and take bold actions. Creating your own original vision can push you to accomplish extraordinary things. When hiring, founders often have the key strengths that made the company successful in the first place. Conventional wisdom says to hire an executive team to handle areas like sales, product, or engineering while the founder manages them. But the truth is, most executives aren't as capable as founders and often leave within a year or two. The real strategy is for founders to double down on their own strengths, whether it's product, go-to-market, or building the business, rather than outsourcing what they do best. In everything he does, he focuses on understanding people's centers and allowing them to achieve the right outcomes. The same applies to customers. Simply showing features isn't enough. Success comes from demonstrating how the product helps them save time, serve more clients, or achieve the results they truly care about. Aligning the product with these benefits is what makes selling effective.
His advice to founders is to be selfish and to prioritize your own happiness. Building a truly transformative company takes decades, so you need to enjoy the work and focus on what you're good at. Don't waste energy on things that drain you or highlight your weaknesses. Instead, double down on your strengths, whether it's sales, strategic partnerships, vision, product strategy, or recruiting top talent, while letting your team handle the rest. If you hate what you're doing, you won't have the drive to sustain the company over the long term. He observed a pattern in the startup world. Trends rise and fall quickly: crypto, SaaS, fintech, remote work. Many companies chase what's hot, only to fade away a few years later. The truly successful ventures, he noted, are those that pick up a contrarian idea, one that few believe in at first, and stick with it over the long term. Success comes not from following the crowd, but from committing to a unique market thesis and persevering until the wave finally arrives. He realized that spending too much time courting venture capitalists was actually a distraction. In fact, he often hung out with VCs more than with his own friends. Ironically, the moment he shifted his focus back to the business itself, reserving VC conversations for when they were truly needed, everything started to fall into place. Growth soared, and became clear that the company's success was perfectly correlated with the time spent away from investors and focus on building the business. When asked what advice he would give his 15-year-old self, he reflected on the importance of thinking as big as possible and persevering until the goal is achieved. He emphasized the value of iterating along the way and trusting that success will eventually come. One key lesson they highlighted was to resist the urge to constantly seek approval or try to please everyone, whether it's investors, customers, or peers. Instead, he stressed the importance of staying committed to your own vision, owning it fully, and dedicating your energy to it, rather than being swayed by the desire to be liked. He explained that choosing a business to build starts with understanding what you want to optimize for. If the goal is to create a large, successful company, it helps to think from first principles. Identify big markets and then consider what you might generally enjoy working in. It's crucial to find a field you're passionate about, because building a company takes years or even decades. You need to enjoy interacting with the people in the industry and the customers you serve. To uncover opportunities, he suggested 3 approaches: forming a thesis, talking extensively with industry professionals, and most importantly, observing people in their daily work. By watching how they operate, where they struggle, and what they don't even realize is a problem, you can discover potential solutions and business ideas. He emphasized that the best leaders, even CEOs of major enterprises, spend time in the field connecting with customers. He shared that when he stopped doing this for a period, his business performance suffered. But when he returned to hands-on observation and engagement, results improved. For him, being a natural need finder, someone who watches, listens, and identifies real-world problems, was essential to driving the company's success. His approach to recruiting has always been proactive. Instead of waiting for candidates to apply or relying solely on recruiters, he focused on finding the best people in the world. To do this, he will tap into the networks of the smartest and most talented individuals he knew. By asking the top performers who they consider to be the best engineers or professionals, he could build a powerful talent network. The idea was to leverage connections, VCs, angel investors, and experienced people who had worked at great companies to reach out to the brightest mind and ultimately assemble a team of exceptional talent. Building trust is challenging at the beginning, and it can disappear just as quickly. One lesson Samir learned early on was the value of honesty and transparency about mistakes. He even wrote a post called Refounding Vice, a year after resetting the company, to share their experience. Many founders make similar errors but fear admitting them, worrying about criticism, bad press, or backlash. When Samir and his team made the reset, it was difficult. They faced negative coverage, critics, and even threats, but ultimately it passed. The key, he realized, was to take full ownership, be accountable, and keep pushing forward. Over time, by showing commitment and working relentlessly to make the company succeed, trust naturally develops. Today, the team is stronger than ever, having witnessed the journey, the setbacks, and Samir's transparency, which together have built lasting trust. So where are you in your current entrepreneurial journey? Let me know in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to see more content like this. Thanks for watching.